if nothing else, to have the experience of fishing, gutting a fish, cleaning a fish, and cooking it.
Thank you for joining us at Cocopah Now. I'm Jonathan Athens. The Colorado River is at the heart of the Cocopah people, providing water for farming and, of course, for fishing. And joining us to talk about fishing, Cocopah Elder Irene Sharkey and Museum Curator Ulises Heredia. Thank you for joining us. And Ulises, you did bring some items to look at about reproductions of fish from the Colorado River.
Yes, we have with us 4 of these hard wax figures or casts of the mullet fish being river fish. These were made by Michael Lee back in 1996 for the opening of the museum. These are included in the diorama of the exhibit, and they will be here for when you visit us once the museum reopens.
And Irene, a couple years ago, we did a big exhibit about the river for the museum. You participated in that, talking about your experiences and recollections of fishing on the river. What do you think of this?
The fish itself, I think it's absolutely great. It's so real replicas of the actual fish itself, and it's amazing.
It is. And what were your experiences growing up by the river, going fishing? And I believe you still fish to this day.
I do, but I cannot find anyone to go fishing with me. When I was growing up, I lived on the North Cocopah, and we fished. It was the staple of our table, fish that we ate every day. And so we would fish, my dad would fish, we would fish, my sisters, my brother. And we fished with cans, with a string, not a nylon string, but a string. And we caught fish. Not as many mullets, but a lot of catfish. A lot of catfish and carp. Carp was in abundance at the river, but we were told not to eat the catfish because, or the carp. They weren't very good for eating because they tend to feed on things that are not normal for a fish to feed on, and so it kind of scared us. And not only that, they have a lot of bones. And so you don't eat carp, but you eat the catfish because cats survive on mud. And so they are safer to eat. So that's what we fished for. Very few mullets. Not as many, but a lot of catfish. A lot of catfish. And so throughout the years, I've always loved seafood.
And describe the first time you caught a fish, what it was like.
I couldn't believe that I had actually caught something alive from the river. I didn't know what to do with it. I wanted to let it go because it's a living thing. And I couldn't imagine eating something like that. But when somebody else kills it, cooks it, it is good eating. But when I first caught my fish first fish that I caught, I did not want to take it and eat it. I wanted to throw it back in the river.
Was there a particular way in which you would prepare or season the fish for cooking? I know everybody's got a different way of doing it, but how did you do it back in the day?
Back in the day, I didn't do any preparing. It was mainly my late mother that did that. I don't gut the fish. I have others do it for me. I think to this day I still cannot cut it open, clean it out. It's just, for me, I can't do that. Although I catch them and I eat them. Fresh fish is delicious.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that you used a can and a string to catch it. How did that work?
Back in my day, we would find a can. Usually, we find a lot of carnation milk cans, empty cans, and they would have ridges on them, which is easier to wrap a string around. And some use pieces of wood, and a knotty kind of wood, so that you can wrap the string on there. But it took a long time, because it isn't something that you can just throw in the river. You have to stand there and kind of piece by piece throw it into the river.
And
that was fun.
Sure. And what would you tell young people today about fishing?
I would tell them that to go out and if nothing else, to have the experience of fishing, gutting a fish, cleaning a fish, and cooking it. I think it's something that I have a nephew. He's grown up now, but he must have been about 7, 8, and I took him fishing with me one day. And after that, he wanted to go fishing every day. Fishing is interesting. Nowadays, I use a fishing rod and a line, and it's easier to fish, but harder to find places to fish. But I usually go to Winter Haven, to the All American Canal, and I'm not sure how they do it, but the tribe, I don't know. I know they used to have a farm a long time ago, and they would farm the fish, and then they would put it into the canals, and we would go out there and fish, and we didn't have to have a license, which was good. And I use the net for fishing. But it's really interesting, because you have to know what it is you're doing. Otherwise, the net will pull you into the water. You have to know how to throw it, but it's an easy way of fishing.
And the display in the museum, Ulises, shows the traditional way of Cocopah fishing back in the day.
Yes, these were caught using the net, so that would be the traditional way of doing it as well.
When our museum reopens, when the gallery is available for visitors to come by, they can take a look and see how it was done back in the day.
Yes, before colonization.
And that's going to do it for us for now. If you like what you see here, Cocopah video podcasts are available only on YouTube. Go ahead and click on the subscribe button below. The audio versions are available on SoundCloud, Stitcher, and all major platforms. Thank you for joining us.